I honestly don't know what it would take for certain men to leave the game, to get off the road, to drop out the street life. For them, making their parents proud of them, that's not good enough. That's not a good enough excuse for them to get off the road. And I'll throw my hands up. I wasn't interested whether or not my mum was proud of me. I wanted to do what I wanted to do. So I can never judge a man and say, oh, why don't you get off the road? Because that's not what your parents want for you. That's not what your mum, that's not what your dad wants for you. I couldn't judge a man and say, yeah. Because I know back in the day when I was doing my foolishness, what my mum thought didn't really matter to me. Because I was going to still do what I wanted to do anyway. For certain man, the possibility of getting killed, that's not enough. Yeah, cool. Put my hands up. I could have been killed and stuff like that, potentially. For certain man, the idea of going to jail, that's not enough. You know, there's certain man right now who they already have kids and they're still on the road. They actually consider themselves not just fathers, they actually consider themselves dads. And they're still on the road. They're still selling drugs. They're still doing fraud. There's man right now, their girlfriend is pregnant. And they're selling drugs. They're doing fraud right now. They've got a baby on the way. They could be potentially locked up before that baby is born. It's selfish. There's guys in jail selling drugs and they've got a child out on the street. You know, if you commit crimes in jail, there are extra charges, you know. It's not, oh, once you're in prison, then you can kill people and sell drugs and yeah, it's okay because you're in. No, there's extra charges. So you could be in jail selling drugs and get extra charges, but you've got a kid out on the street. I've spoken to a man before. They've got children telling me about their drug line up in this place here and that place there. Yeah. Man's providing for the youths and that. Not really. What you're providing them is temporary. There's only so far money can go, you know. Yeah, you might be able to. These parents are mad, you know. They think providing for their children is buying them Gucci and making sure they have 3-4 pairs of trainers every month to wear. That's not providing for your kids. Providing for your kids is being there and being a good example. Yeah, it's cool if you don't live with the mother of your child or whatever, innit? Relationships break down, that's cool. But set a good example for your child. Come on. How have you got children on the street or a baby in the womb and you're selling drugs and you're doing fraud? If you got a child on the street right now or you got a baby in the womb and you're selling drugs and you're doing fraud, your card is marked, you know. Your days are numbered. Don't think because you've been getting away with it for 7-8 years, you're Mr. Untouchable. You know, during the time where, you know, quote unquote, you could take risks and that. Yeah, that's when you'll get away with selling drugs and doing fraud and that and robbing people. But the moment you've got a liability, you've got someone who depends on you, that's the moment that you get caught. Not for everyone, but for some people. And you're selfish if you put yourself in a position to be locked away so that you can't provide for that child. Again, providing for that child isn't just buying Pampers and Huggies and baby food and t-shirts and a roof over the head. Providing for your child is making sure that there's a father figure in your child's life. You know, there's a lot of boy children that I've observed over the years, and they're very feminine, you know. Do you know why they're feminine? As human beings, we are what we hang around. You put a child in an environment that is a rough environment, a dangerous environment, whatever, they're going to be rough and tough. You put a child and make a child live with their mum day in, day out, just the child and the mum, just the little boy and its mum, day in, day out. That little boy more than likely will become feminine. I've seen it plenty of times. The child hanging around with the mum picks up feminine traits. Like in that video I made about feminine boys, I'll leave a link in the description box below. You can go and check it out. That's one of my most hated videos. I've got more dislikes than likes. The boys will pick up girly, feminine traits, non-masculine traits. Hands on their hips, rolling eyes, crossing legs, crying, all emotional, all feminine traits. It's not a coincidence that many of these kids, these little boys that are running around, are very feminine, are the same boys that don't have father figures in their life. If you're a man selling drugs right now, you're on the road, you're robbing man, doing fraud. If you get put away for 5-6 years, you know your son could potentially become really feminine. So you think you're a macho, masculine man, and that, yeah, and you think, yeah, your son's going to be the stamp of you. He's going to be the carbon copy of you. Nah, fam, he ain't going to be the carbon copy of you because you ain't going to be around to teach him. Do you really want a next man teaching your son? Because I know I wouldn't want a next man teaching my son. Because I don't think a next man's got this brain that could teach my son the things that I would want to teach my son. So there's no way I'll put myself in a position to not be around to teach my son the things that I feel, especially a man as well, should learn as a boy. You know, a boy becoming a man. Nah, my son needs me around. Or the daughter that I will have, she needs me around to protect her from people like me. Nah, I'm messing with her. But it's selfish. You're selfish, you're on the road selling drugs. You're selfish, you're on the road doing fraud, robbing man, and you got a kid out on the street and you feel like you're providing for that child. You're not providing for that child. You're providing for that child temporarily. But in the longer things, you ain't going to be around to provide nothing. So all that you've built up is going to go crashing down. All because you was too lazy to make sacrifice. Educate yourself. Maybe work a shit job for a little bit amount of time, whatever, in it, just to get yourself to a place where you can maybe make some money on the side, legal money on the side as well. Let me stress that point. You don't want to make no sacrifice because you're lazy. Your priorities is driving a flashy car, wearing Gucci, wearing Balenciaga, looking the part, hanging around with certain man, going to these spots. I used to talk to someone before, and it's only after we stopped talking I found out, because he knew, I told him already, if you're involved in any drug deal or anything, I'm going to drop you out. So he lied to me and pretended that he weren't involved in nothing like that, or whatever. Innit? It's only when I stopped speaking to him, whatever, in it, someone confessed and, well, someone, baited him out and said, oh, my man used to sell this and that and that and this. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So them time there when man was telling me, oh, I'm just going, like, obviously, my brethren, innit, man, I chat to man on the phone or whatever. What you up to, fam? Oh, I'm just going down there. Okay, what you saying? No, yeah, I just got to sort something out, innit? Yeah. We were sorting something out. This is the same man. Have kids, He could have potentially put himself in a position where he could even have seen his child come into the world. Selfish. So what's it going to take for man them to get off the road and stop selling drugs and stop being lazy, stop robbing man, stop doing fraud? So they won't listen to their parents, because most people's parents will tell them, don't do that, whatever. Death isn't enough. Prison isn't enough. The thought of being in prison and having a child that's not going to be around, you're not going to be around to guide your child. What's it going to take? Probably will take someone probably passing away or something like that for them to realize, you know what, this ain't the life to live, man. Stay wise.